Revealed, the hidden talent of a janitor who outscored SEALs in a life-changing moment. In the dimly lit halls of Hawthorne Preparatory, where ambition clashed with the harsh realities of inner-city life, rumors swirled about Marcus, the janitor. People would whisper, "Did you hear? The janitor was a math genius." It sounded unbelievable. After all, he spent his days scrubbing floors and cleaning spills, while his daughter, Jasmine, a bright senior with dreams of college, navigated the complexities of adolescence. But Marcus held a secret: he was a whiz with numbers, a talent molded in the shadow of his struggles. Marcus scrubbed away the remnants of lunch while imagining a future for Jasmine. He wanted her to break free from the neighborhood that had so often trapped him. He taught her about hard work, grit, and the courage to rise above. Every wiped surface held a piece of his hope for her, a testament to resilience etched into each corner of the school. One afternoon, the school buzzed with an announcement that sent ripples of excitement through the hall. A state-level academic competition was coming up, and the stakes were high. Elite teams, including local Navy SEAL recruits, were set to challenge the student body. Jasmine's eyes sparkled with the thrill of it. But as her team practiced, they stumbled. Self-doubt crept in like a thief in the night. Desperate for guidance, Jasmine approached her father. "Dad, I just don't know if we have what it takes." Unbeknownst to her, Marcus struggled with his own hesitations. Standing there, he saw Jasmine's worry mirrored in himself. It was time to reveal his hidden talent. "Jasmine, let me help," he finally said, his voice shaky but resolute. A flicker of hope sparked in her eyes as he shared insights that came so naturally to him, a world of equations and logic unfurling between them. The competition loomed nearer, tension twisting around them like vines. Problems erupted. Coaches doubted Marcus's abilities, condemning him for his position as janitor, a stark reminder of the social divide that separated them from the other teams. Parents rallied behind their kids, cheers echoing through the halls, while bias threatened to overshadow Marcus's contributions. Just days before the competition, a letter slipped from an old box in Jasmine's room. Her mother's handwriting filled the air with warmth. It spoke of recognizing Marcus's worth, urging Jasmine to look past the surface. Tears lined Jasmine's cheeks as she understood her father's value not just as a janitor, but as a man of wisdom. With newfound determination, she went to her father. "Will you coach my team, Dad?" Marcus felt the swell of pride, but doubts loomed large. Could he really stand in front of those elite teams? With each practice, uncertainty brewed between them. Tensions flared, but shared laughter softened the air. Then, a night before the competition, Jasmine lay awake, far from peace. Could they truly stand against the polished Navy SEALs? The question nagged at her heart as hope flickered like a dying flame. The day of the competition dawned, charged with electricity. The auditorium buzzed, competitors lining up, each team poised and focused. As they faced off against the SEAL recruits, Marcus stood on the sidelines, heart racing. This wasn't just about math. It was a battle for respect, a moment that could redefine their community's narrative. Gasps filled the air when the first question was called. Anxiety crackled around them. With every right answer, tension simmered, but each misstep felt like a boulder crashing down. And then, in a moment of heated decision, Marcus felt alive. He spotted a flaw, a crack in their rival's armor. He made the call, a risky play that would either be their salvation or their undoing. The crowd held its breath. Could a janitor truly outperform Navy SEALs? Would this moment shatter the bonds of underestimation and forge a new path for them both? As the timer ticked down, Marcus knew everything was at stake. Would they find victory, or lose their chance to rewrite their story? The room buzzed with anticipation as eyes darted between the teams, the audience hanging on the edge of their seats. Each tick of the timer felt like a countdown to fate, a clash of intelligence and resolve. Marcus shifted on his feet, a whirlpool of emotions swirling within him. This was his chance not just for Jasmine, but for himself, to prove that worth isn't defined by a uniform. Jasmine stood at the center of her team, a fierce determination visible on her face. She glanced toward her father, and in that moment, he felt a connection as palpable as the heat in the room. Together, they had ignited hope in one another. She nodded, heart racing, ready to trust him with everything they had prepared for. The next question flashed across the screen, requiring quick calculation and sharp insight. Marcus watched as Jasmine's team hesitated, a quick exchange of doubt clouding their resolve. Just as self-doubt began to creep back in, Marcus took a deep breath, trusting that his instincts could guide her. Trust the process, Jasmine. You know this. His voice sliced through the tension, and some teammates perked up, surprised at his sudden confidence. Jasmine's eyes brightened as she recalled everything he had taught her. They whispered answers back and forth, and with each passing moment, a sense of unity washed over the team. They became a single entity, fueled by a shared goal, battling against the weight of expectations. As Jasmine confidently called out the answer, the crowd erupted into applause. One correct answer turned into 2, then 3. Hope began radiating from the stage in powerful waves. The tension that had once defined their practice sessions started to melt away, replaced by the sweetness of excitement. Each right answer began to forge a new narrative, one that shattered the preconceived notions about who they were and what they could achieve. But soon, the SEALs fought back, pulling ahead with a question that felt impossibly difficult. The room fell silent, manifesting the weight of expectation. Jasmine's heart raced, and doubts lurked like shadows at the edges of her mind. In that frail moment of hesitation, Marcus sensed the doubt creeping in. You can do this. Remember, it's not just numbers, it's teamwork. He shouted, the urgency in his voice amplifying their collective spirit. The questions slipped into the air like smoke, yet the team found clarity amid the chaos. They rallied together, each member piecing together fragments of knowledge like a puzzle coming to life. Jasmine took a shaky breath, her heartbeat matching the ticking clock, and then, against the odds, she called out the answer, her voice steady through the uncertainty. The moment felt suspended in time, a heartbeat away from triumph or devastation. The judges exchanged glances before confirming the answer. It was correct. The auditorium erupted into cheers, but Marcus could barely hear over the rush of adrenaline. With every team member wearing smiles that could light up the darkest corners of their lives, Jasmine felt a swell of pride not just for herself, but for her dad, who had guided them into this moment. As they pressed onward, the SEALs remained formidable, but the spark of hope ignited between them. They truly believed they could win. But you could feel the tension start to mount again. The next question loomed larger than life. In the back of Marcus's mind, doubt lingered like an unwelcome guest. Could they handle what was still to come? Would they falter under the pressure? As the final question approached, the stakes felt clearer than ever. In an instant, Jasmine turned to her father, searching his eyes for reassurance. Would he hold the secrets to their ultimate success? What would happen if their journey was close to an end? They had come so far, but was there still more to be revealed? The tension in the room crackled like a live wire as Jasmine faced the next question. The confidence she had gained hung in the air, but as that daunting final question illuminated the screen, doubt cast a shadow over her resolve. She glanced once more at Marcus, searching for that familiar spark of reassurance, but she saw only furrowed brows and clenched fists. All around them, the audience held their breath, and the energy was electric. Jasmine could feel every heartbeat pulsating through her veins, an echo of the urgency surrounding them. The SEAL team's collective confidence exuded intimidation, each member armed with years of elite training and experience. Yet here was Jasmine, a janitor's daughter, with nothing but her newfound courage and determination. Jasmine? One of her teammates said, pulling her back from the edge of panic. What do you think? The clock was mercilessly ticking down, and Jasmine's mind swirled. We've got this, we can do this together, she urged, giving her teammates a determined nod. With her spirit revitalized, they launched into huddled whispers, ideas flowing like water. Marcus watched, pride swelling in his chest, but a nagging uncertainty lingered. Jasmine held a piece of paper in her hands, scribbled notes, from late-night study sessions, messy calculations still lightly smudged. The figures danced before her eyes, each representing hours of hard work, mentorship moments with her father, but now they felt somewhat distant. Amid the weight of expectation, Doubt threatened to drown her. Focus, Jasmine, Marcus murmured, stepping forward, his presence like a gentle anchor. Trust what you know. Trust each other. Don't forget what makes you strong. His words wrapped around her heart, serving not only as encouragement but as a reminder of the journey they had taken together. As the seconds slipped away, Jasmine took a deep breath, steadying herself. All right, let us break this down, she said, rallying her team. We know what we practiced. Let us put it into motion. Their murmurs grew confident, a determined choir forming a safety net around her. Jasmine started tapping into her instincts. Everything clicked into place as answers began to flow like a well-orchestrated melody. There was laughter, nods, and secret smiles, which reinforced their bond even more. 3 seconds. The announcer's voice rang out, jolting them to the reality outside their private world. Just as the panic began to rear its head again, it was pushed back by a fierce chant of their team's name, rolling across the crowd. The support ignited newfound energy. Time's up. The announcer's voice echoed through the auditorium, the finality of it settling over like a thick fog. With all eyes pinned on Jasmine, she raised her head high, her heart pounding in sync with the collective heartbeat of her team. In that suspended moment, Jasmine remembered her life lessons: hard work, unity, passion. She blurted out the answer with a certainty that surprised even her. No hesitation, no doubt. Just clarity. The crowd gasped, the judges deliberating intensely. Jasmine's eyes widened, praying for the outcome she could barely allow herself to hope for. With much deliberation, the head judge finally raised his hand. The answer as the world felt like it was holding its breath. Correct. The eruption of cheers was deafening. Jasmine's teammates engulfed her in a joyful embrace, tears of relief and joy cascading down their faces. Amid the exuberance, they finally felt what it meant to truly conquer adversity, standing strong against the odds. But as victory washed over the team, a new thought flashed through Jasmine's mind: what lay ahead. The SEALs may have been formidable, but could they continue this momentum? With the stakes this high, would they rise to meet the challenges still waiting in the shadows? The adrenaline rush from their victory began to fade, but the excitement in the air still tinged everything with a vivid thrill. Jasmine felt her heart still racing, each beat echoing the cheers that surrounded her. But beneath that joy, a nagging voice whispered in her mind, reminding her of everything that still lay ahead. What's next? Marcus asked, pulling her from her thoughts, his eyes twinkling with pride. The other team members crowded around them, a whirlwind of exhilaration and jubilation, yet a cautious fog seemed to loom over Jasmine's heart. 5 minutes until the next challenge begins, the announcer's voice rang out, the words setting off another wave of tension in Jasmine's gut. She turned to her team, their faces reflecting a mixture of celebration and apprehension. We have to stay focused. This could just be the beginning of something big. Jasmine felt that sudden pressure again, like a weight pressing down on her shoulders. The SEAL teams were known for their unyielding discipline, their ability to move smoothly through obstacles with military precision. Could her team, her family, now keep up with them? Before she could dive deeper into her thoughts, a new voice interrupted the huddle. A representative from the competition approached with a clipboard in hand. Congratulations on your last round victory. However, the next challenge will test not just your knowledge but your endurance and teamwork. The words endurance and teamwork hung in the air like a storm cloud. Jasmine glared at the representative with a combination of determination and concern. What exactly does that mean? An obstacle course. He smiled, though it felt more like a challenge thrown down. You will have to navigate through physical barriers while solving strategic puzzles at each stage. Marcus noticed a shift in Jasmine's expression. Don't think too much. We've trained for this, we've prepared for worse, he said softly, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. As they gathered together again, Jasmine looked into each of her teammates' eyes, searching for common resolve. We've got to treat this like a battle plan, she said, taking the lead. Trust me, if we work together, we can overcome anything. The team nodded, diving into discussions of how they could tackle the course. While they strategized, a growing sense of camaraderie swept over them. Jasmine felt surrounded by a fresh wave of hope, and the sting of doubt began to fade. Just then, a loud horn blasted, sending vibrations through the auditorium. The crowd roared in anticipation, and tension filled the air once more. Jasmine's heartbeat quickened. She glanced over at the other teams, including the SEALs, who were already stretching, their faces calm but focused. Every muscle in her body tingled with energy. "We can't let our nerves get to us," Jasmine whispered to herself, reminding herself of the strength they had just displayed. She turned back to her team, grinning. "Let us show them what a janitor's daughter and her team can really do." As the gates to the obstacle course opened wide, the roar of the crowd enveloped them once again. With one final glance back to Marcus, who stood there nodding with fierce encouragement, Jasmine led her team toward the challenge waiting in the limelight. They crossed the threshold and the first obstacle loomed ahead, a towering wall. It felt insurmountable. A quick glance to the side revealed the SEALs already strategizing on their approach. Jasmine took a deep breath, envisioning what they had just accomplished. Would the next challenge prove their fears wrong, or would this be the moment that unraveled the fragile unity they'd built? The first heartbeat of this new struggle pulsed in her chest as they prepared to dive into the unknown where true potential awaited beyond the obstacles. The towering wall loomed like a giant sentinel, casting a long shadow over Jasmine and her team. The cheers from the crowd felt distant, almost like echoes of a past that no longer mattered. Right now, it was just them, the fierce challenge ahead, and the pounding of their hearts. "Okay, here's the plan," Jasmine called, rising above the nervous chatter. "We need to work together. I'll boost Marcus up, and then he can help pull the rest of us up. It's about rhythm and trust." Nods of understanding rippled through her team. Marcus stepped forward. "Let us do this," he said, a determined glint in his eye. Jasmine crouched and linked her fingers, creating a sturdy base for Marcus. He stepped onto her shoulders, his weight a comforting reminder of the bonds they had formed. With a surge of effort, he gripped the top of the wall. "I'm up! Pull me up!" The team strained together, pushing with all their might, while Marcus reached down. One after another, they scrambled up, the jagged top of the wall now within reach. Jasmine could feel each hand gripping hers, a firm declaration of unity. As they toppled over, panting, the pulse of the competition surged in their veins. No time to celebrate, though. They spotted the next hurdle, a muddy pit flanked by tall barricades. Jasmine felt a wave of unease wash over her. Would they fail here, a pit stop on their journey? "Just like we practiced," she urged, recalling the hours spent perfecting their synchronization. "We jumped together. Ready?" They nodded, adrenaline igniting the air. She counted down. 1, 2, 3. They leaped together, bodies flying through the air. Jasmine felt the exhilaration of the wind rushing past her, the pure thrill mixing with fear. They landed in the mud with a splash, caked in brown but laughing uncontrollably as they scrambled to their feet. The roar of the crowd surged, their energy morphing into fuel. But as they pushed onward, Jasmine couldn't shake the weight on her heart. Every obstacle they faced was not just a test of strength but a reminder of what was at stake. Their dreams hung suspended in the air, fragile yet potent. Could they really make it to the end? The next stage was a series of ropes hanging from high beams, swinging and swaying perilously. Before Jasmine could voice her anxious thoughts, Marcus stepped forward, his eyes sparkling with confidence. "I'll go first. Just watch my moves." He jumped, swinging across the ropes, his body dancing with a surprising grace that made Jasmine's heart swell with admiration. The crowd went wild, and for a fleeting moment, fear melted away, replaced by pride and the reminder that they each had hidden talents waiting to be unleashed. One by one, her teammates followed his lead, navigating the ropes with a newfound sense of bravery. Jasmine leaped next, channeling the energy from her friends, her spirit alight with determination. The taste of victory felt close, nearly within reach. As they crossed to the end of the rope course, Jasmine caught sight of the SEALs just behind them, their usual calmness disrupted by surprise. They weren't ready for this. But still lingering in her mind was the question, would their triumph last? The final challenge lay ahead, A series of strategic puzzles that would require them to think and act as one. In that moment, Jasmine felt the pressure mount again, a familiar, tightening grip on her heart. The stakes were high, and she could almost hear the ticking down of time. "Let us do this!" she shouted, rallying her team, all of them marked by mud and adrenaline. With determination etched in their faces, they faced the puzzles, hearts beating as one. No more doubt, no more fear, only resolve pulsing through them. Would their teamwork be enough to face whatever lay beyond? The tension hung heavy as they dove into the unknown, a fresh wave of uncertainty waiting just around the corner. The air felt electric as Jasmine and her team approached the first puzzle. A giant lockbox sat before them, adorned with intricate symbols. They exchanged worried glances, the laughter and mud from moments ago replaced by focused determination. "Okay, everyone, let us gather around," Jasmine said, her voice steady, but she could feel her own heart racing. "We need to figure this out together." The puzzle required them to align a series of rotating discs, each engraved with numbers and letters. As they looked at it, the challenge seemed impossible at first glance. But they had prepared for moments like this. "Remember our strategy sessions? We can do this," Jasmine encouraged. They all got to work. Each team member brought a different skill to the table, a fact Jasmine had always appreciated. Marcus had a sharp eye for detail, Sarah was great at connecting the dots, and Leo could see patterns where others couldn't. "Marcus, I think we need a 3 and an A together," Sarah called out, squinting at the designs. They shuffled closer to the puzzle, working in rhythm, voices merging into a harmonious blend of ideas and theories. Jasmine felt a swell of pride as they navigated the complexities, their determination growing stronger with every small breakthrough. "Let us take a step back," Marcus suggested, breathing heavily. "We need perspective." They all took a few steps back, wiping mud-streaked hands on their uniforms, and studied the box anew. Often the simplest solutions were the ones overlooked. The crowd was louder now, urging them on, but Jasmine could still hear the drum of her heart beating in sync with the blood rushing in her ears. Suddenly, Leo's voice rang out, high with excitement. "Wait! If we rotate these last 2 discs right there." He pointed, and the group leaned in, sharing one fleeting moment of silence, the kind that held the promise of something monumental. As one, they followed his lead, twisting the remaining discs. The final click echoed in the air. The lockbox popped open, revealing a shimmering key. The crowd erupted into thunderous applause, filling their lungs with renewed hope. "Now the door!" Jasmine shouted, another obstacle looming in front of them. It was just as high as the wall, with a handle that looked battered but resolute. Steeling themselves, they charged forward, grabbing onto each other for support. Sweat dripped down their backs, mingling with the excitement as they ascended to grasp their next victory. Once at the top, they all reached down together, assisting one another as they scrambled over the edge. But before they could even catch their breath, Jasmine's heart sank at the sight of the next challenge. The seals had caught up, not too far behind, looking fierce and determined. What if they're better at puzzles? She thought, a creeping doubt entering her mind. Would all their hard work be for nothing? "Let us make this quick," she heard Marcus say. The confidence in his tone rang out, steadying her trembling hands. The seals were known for their strategic prowess. The team knew they couldn't let the pressure get to them. Jasmine focused on the key in her hand, determined to put their teamwork to the test once again. The next lock loomed like an insurmountable mountain, but together they could face it. With urgency bubbling beneath their skin, they got to work. Every moment was a race against time, laughter and worry intermingling as fingers flew across the keyhole, while the deafening cheers from the crowd grew louder. "Come on, we can beat them!" Jasmine shouted, adrenaline pumping through her veins. But as they wrestled to unlock the next puzzle, she couldn't shake the thrill of realization that their best wasn't just about winning. It was about each other, their unity, their spirit. They either had to succeed or face the reality of surrendering to the seals. Jasmine could feel her heart pounding again, not just from fear, but from a sense of hope. What would happen if they unknowingly possessed a talent that no one, including themselves, had recognized? And as they plunged deeper into this contest of wits and wills, Jasmine felt the invisible thread of fate weaving through their collective story, hinting at something much bigger lying ahead. Would they uncover their hidden strengths before it was too late? Fingers trembled over the lock as the seals bore down on them, their focus sharpened. The sunlight glinted off the nearby keyhole, seemingly teasing them as Jasmine fought to steady her breath. Her thoughts raced. Could they really match the seals, who trained for challenges just like this? Focus, everyone! Everyone together! Jasmine shouted, rallying her team. They nodded, each of them locking eyes with one another in a brief moment of solidarity. The noise from the crowd momentarily thinned, fueling their resolve. Okay, we need to rotate the discs. Marcus was already deep in thought, his brow furrowed. Sarah, look for any patterns quickly. Every second counted. Sarah's fingers danced over the engraved letters, her eyes darting back and forth. Here. I think if we align B and 2, but the seals were not slowing down. They split into teams, attacking their own disc configurations with a ferocious intensity. The countdown in Jasmine's mind began. Each tick echoed the pressure pressing down on her shoulders. Come on, you can do this, she thought, raking back a wave of nagging doubt and weaving hope into the fabric of her team. Leo glanced nervously at the seals, but Jasmine caught his eye and shot him a smile. We can't let them get into our heads, she urged, pressing her finger to the keyhole. We need to think like a team, not just individuals. Right. Leo agreed, leaning in. Together on 3, Jasmine prompted. They huddled in closer, each person feeling the warmth and strength of the others at their backs. 1, 2, 3. They twisted the discs in unison. A moment hung in the air, thick with anticipation. Then, a loud click shattered the tension, and the lock released just as the seals hit their own locks with equal force. The door creaked open, unveiling the next stage of the challenge, a vibrant garden filled with wooden puzzles to decode and flags to gather. The sight hit Jasmine like a wave of fresh air. Go! Jasmine shouted, adrenaline surging as they bolted through the door. They had momentum now, and she could sense that they were reconnecting with that playful spirit that had fueled them before the first puzzle. As they scattered in the garden, Jasmine felt the heartbeat of the team reviving. Navigating through the thrilling maze of colors and shapes, pieces flew into their hands with purpose. Each unique challenge brought out the best in them, revealing skills they hadn't even known they possessed. Jasmine! Check this! Sarah's voice rang out, sporting an unusually bright smile as she held up a piece that fit seamlessly into one of the larger wooden puzzles. This could be it. Perfect, she replied, heart swelling. Each discovery elevated their spirit, laughter spilling out as they shared ideas and solutions. They weren't just fighting to win anymore. They were rediscovering trust in one another and their combined potential. But in the corner of her vision, the seals were closing in, and Jasmine felt that familiar knot twist in her stomach. Would they take the lead before her team could unravel all the secrets of this mysterious garden? The cheers from the crowd surged again, urging them forward like a powerful wave. Suddenly, a flash of movement caught Jasmine's eye. Among the colorful flags protruding from the ground was a janitor, a quiet yet curious figure observing the chaos around him. Was he watching them, or was he simply cleaning up the space? But something about the way he stood there, detached yet focused, sent a thrill through her. His expression seemed almost knowing. Jasmine shook the thought away. They had a competition to win. Yet curiosity lingered. What role might this janitor play in this unfolding story? Could he hold the key to a talent that would surprise them all? As they raced to complete the next puzzle, the realization washed over her. Sometimes, the most unexpected people can change everything. Would they be able to harness the magic of teamwork and discover hidden strengths before time ran out? In the midst of the vibrant garden, Jasmine's heart raced as pieces clicked into place around her. She could see that the puzzles were multiplying, yet so were the chances of each team. The pressure from the audience and the urgency of the seals only fueled the adrenaline coursing through her veins. Look! Another flag! Leo shouted, pulling Jasmine back into the moment. He dashed toward a golden flag fluttering in the breeze, shining like a beacon of hope among the chaotic colors. We need it! The rest of the team burst into motion, each person instinctively knowing their role. Sarah gathered nearby puzzle pieces, fitting them together, while Marcus scoured the area for more flags. A slight shift in the atmosphere prickled Jasmine's skin. The janitor, still lingering at the edge of the action, had captured her curiosity. What was his story? Jasmine. Sarah called again, her slight panic breaking Jasmine's train of thought. We need your brain on this puzzle. It needs a last piece on the left. Right, I'm coming. Jasmine replied, shaking off the distraction and reconnecting with her purpose. She rushed back to join her friends, her mind racing through the strategies they had just forged together. The puzzle pieces were starting to come into focus, colors aligning and shapes falling into place. Just as they were closing in on a solution, the seals burst through an adjoining path, scoring their own flag with a cheer that echoed through the garden. Jasmine's heart sank. They were now neck and neck. She couldn't let her team down. Stay calm, she shouted, her voice above the murmurs from the crowd. We've got this. Just focus. The time was ticking, and now each second felt like an eternity. Meanwhile, the janitor's quiet presence loomed in her mind. He crossed paths with Marcus momentarily. Jasmine caught a glimpse of their exchange, a nod, a smile, a subtle word. What could he possibly know that would matter in this challenge? Then, in a fraction of a second, everything shifted. The janitor approached their puzzle area and hesitantly picked up a stray piece, the very one Sarah needed. He studied it intently, adjusting his hat as if staring long and hard would help him decipher it. Jasmine's breath caught in her throat. Excuse me, sir? She called, not expecting much. Do you think that piece could fit? The janitor turned, almost startled, but then a smile spread across his face as he walked over with the piece in hand. I'm not sure if it's yours, but he trailed off, holding it up in the sunlight, the wood shining brightly. Looks a little familiar. In that moment, something incredible happened. The tension around them eased, the crowd hushed, and even the seals paused. Jasmine felt the energy shift. Murmurs of curiosity began to rise as her team huddled close, sensing the importance of this interaction. Could a janitor hold the secret to their victory after all? Let us try it, Leo urged, excitement sparking among them all. Sarah pointed to the empty spot in the puzzle, her eyes wide with anticipation. The janitor approached carefully, his hand steady. In one swift movement, he placed the piece where it belonged. A triumphant click resounded through the garden as the entire puzzle locked into place, illuminating their next clue with a sudden flash of color that sent cheers echoing off the walls. Jasmine's heart soared. They had just gained an unexpected lead. But could they trust this newfound clue when the seals were hot on their trail? What comes next? Sarah whispered, her gaze momentarily drawn to the janitor. What else does he know? As Jasmine watched the janitor, she felt a deep connection resonating within her. The team relied not just on their skills but also on the unpredictable role of this gentle watchman, his quiet confidence inspiring and guiding them when they needed it most. It dawned on Jasmine the power of connection is sometimes found in the most unlikely places. But before she could ponder it further, a loud buzzer echoed through the garden. The race was about to get even more complicated. Would the team be able to keep their momentum and discover what lay ahead, or would the seals pull ahead in this chaotic blend of challenges? The garden erupted into a frenzy of excitement at the sound of the buzzer. The vibrant colors seemed to pulse with energy, like a living entity, eager to see what would unfold. Jasmine felt the weight of anticipation hanging thick in the air, almost suffocating. Her heart hammered against her ribcage as she exchanged glances with her team. Let us regroup, she called out, fighting to suppress the swell of anxiety in her chest. They needed to focus. They had an advantage now, but the seals were relentless and wouldn't back down easily. As the team huddled close, the janitor stepped back slightly, a satisfied smile lingering on his face. He was no longer just a bystander. He had been a pivotal player in their game. Jasmine couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to him, a deeper story beneath that humble exterior. What did we just unlock? Marcus asked, his fingers grasping the edges of the vibrant piece they had just placed. He looked around at the delicate tendrils of ivy that grew around the low stone walls. It's gotta be important. Jasmine bent down, tracing her fingers over the newly revealed colors. It's like a map. The pieces began rearranging in her mind, revealing an elaborate design that could lead them further into the garden, or possibly into another twist of the game. Time to get moving, Leo said, excitement bubbling in his voice. The seals won't wait for us to figure this out. With a nod from Jasmine, they set off, following the patterns as they unfolded before them. Each step felt weighted but exhilarating, as if the very ground pulsed with promise. They rushed down winding paths, darting past blooming flowers that swayed gently, almost as if cheering them on, but the pressure building in Jasmine's chest was confusing. The earlier joy and camaraderie somehow felt diluted. Just then, out of the corner of her eye, she spotted the janitor watching them go. He stood there, hat tipped low, an enigmatic presence in the chaos of color and sound. Should we talk to him? Sarah whispered, almost as though she feared breaking the spell the janitor had cast. He could help us. Jasmine hesitated, torn between the urgency to advance and the strange pull she felt towards the janitor's quiet strength. What could he possibly tell them now when the thrill of the race surged anew? Keep moving, she finally said. Let us see where this leads. But we'll come back. As they navigated through the final turns of their path, a glimmer of light captured her attention. They arrived at a small gazebo surrounded by a pool of water reflecting the vibrant blue sky. Glistening steps led down to a tranquil pond at the center. There, they found another flag, shimmering with what appeared to be a riddle inscribed upon it. Look at this! Marcus cried, his eyes scanning the words. This is it! But before they could read, a booming voice echoed from the entrance of the garden. The seals had arrived, their previous victory hanging in the air like a challenge. Jasmine's stomach twisted. They had traded moments of victory back and forth, but that last puzzle, the surprise from the janitor, where did it truly leave them? Let us hurry, she urged, heart racing at both the excitement and uncertainty. We need to solve this before they catch up. Jasmine's thoughts raced, but a new doubt began to blossom. What if trusting the janitor wasn't just a leap of faith, but something deeper? What if he knew more than a piece of the puzzle? Just as they leaned over the flag, trying to make sense of the riddle, she caught the janitor's eyes from across the garden one last time. His gaze was steady, and for a fleeting moment, she felt an unbreakable connection and unspoken understanding. What was hidden beneath the surface of their challenge? And as they faced the seals head-on, would that understanding change everything for them? As Jasmine's team gathered around the shimmering flag, tension crackled in the air like static. The riddle carved into the fabric danced before them, words swirling with meanings. A challenge to unlock your fate beyond the reach of quick debate, she read aloud, her heart racing as her teammates watched her, hope floating in their eyes. Think faster than the seals, Marcus reminded them, urgency coloring his voice. What could this mean? We need to decode it and move. Jasmine's mind whirled, piecing fragments together. Quick debates could signify hasty choices, and they didn't have time for that. Let us break it down, she exclaimed. What's hidden lies beyond something we can find? Suddenly, memory stirred within her, a lesson from her father about geometry perhaps, about shapes and angles revealing patterns unseen. We have to think outside the box, she shouted. What about shapes and their meanings? Her teammates leaned closer, eyes narrowing in concentration. What about a circle? Sarah suggested, her voice firm. Maybe it represents unity, all our teamwork coming together? Exactly. And we need to use that unity now, Jasmine encouraged. Gather around and think. What do we know? In that moment, they honed in. It wasn't just about the riddle, it was about their collective strength. Working as one, they decoded the riddle. With hands trembling yet steady with confidence, they connected dots until the pieces snapped together like a well-made puzzle. Suddenly, the flag vibrated in the air, illuminating paths further into the garden. The audience roared, waiting in anticipation. The seals were closing in. Jasmine felt the rush of time push against her, but for the first time, fear didn't blind her. "Let us go!" she shouted, resolute and undeterred. They sprinted through the newly opened gates, heartbeats aligning with the rhythm of their shared resolve. In the end of that shared journey, they pushed forward, the vibrant colors leading them into yet another challenge. The path dipped down, leading to a final test of strength and teamwork. The staircase spiraled down, and before them lay a wall laced with numbers and strategic designs. "This is it!" Jasmine exclaimed, determination unfurling like wings within her. "We can do this together!" The seals stormed behind them, but Jasmine didn't look back. This was a new territory for them all, where every lesson learned and every moment shared would come crumbling together for their final ascent. She could feel Marcus's presence beside her, his confidence filling her with strength. "Focus on the task," he said, as quick calculations flew from the team, each member blending their skills like an orchestra tuning for a concert. They aligned numbers, shapes, and thoughts, binding their voices together, determined to make the last leap, the symbols of their stories woven as one. Minutes felt like seconds as they raced through calculations, adrenaline fusing into focus. No noise but the gentle murmur of determination echoed around as they clicked the final pieces into place. "Done!" Marcus shouted, raising his hand with sheer exhilaration, and in that moment, the wall shifted aside, revealing passage after passage shimmering bright like promises made. They burst through, a magnetic force pulling them into the light. Cheers erupted from the audience as they crossed the threshold, a profound sense of accomplishment sweeping over them. Together, they had done it. They hadn't just overcome obstacles, they had transformed, each of them stepping into their own strength, lifted by unity, love, and belief. Jasmine turned to look for her father, her eyes glistening. There he stood, a proud smile stretching across his face. "You did it!" he beamed. But it was about more than the win. It was about discovering who they could be when they embraced their innate courage, believing in one another. Marcus felt limitations dissolve within him. He finally saw himself beyond the role of a janitor, every act of resilience woven into the fabric of this moment. "Ready for what's next?" he asked Jasmine, a sparkle of pride lighting up his face. "Yes. And we'll embrace every challenge," she responded, a radiant smile breaking across her face. The night was still young, and beneath the bright lights, they stood together, the janitor's daughter, the artist, the dreamer, the strategist, all brought together in a tapestry woven with love, hope, and the unyielding spirit of family. As the crowd rose to their feet, applause reverberated around them, the energy palpable in the air. Jasmine understood that no matter what their next journey held, they would face it united, having discovered not just who they were, but who they could inspire others to be. This was just one chapter of their story, and now, don't you dare miss the gripping tales that will follow. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep the magic going. Comment below with your thoughts, your reactions, and your hopes for the characters' next adventures. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans know how crucial their support is. Join us as we forge ahead together.